What factors contribute to team dynamics? Wow, this could be a little bit of a problem because this is one of my all-time favorite topics. So, let's see. What factors contribute to team dynamics includes a host of multiple things, and part of it is going to be looking at the culture of the environment where the team operates. And part of it, did I mention that I could get on a soapbox a little bit? So let's get some very specific things that we're actually going to cover, because as you know, in all of our videos, we like to make sure we stick to the topic and that we leave you with some actionable items that you can look at. So we're going to look at a number of things that can affect team dynamics. And then we're also going to give you a couple of suggestions about what you can do to productively affect those elements. Now, we started KSP Partnership a long time ago, in part because of our interest in this very topic. And so one of the first things that we're going to do is we're going to talk about the culture of the environment that your team is operating in. So before we get started on that, please understand, when we say culture, we have a very specific definition. A culture is a commonly agreed to and held set of norms and behaviors and beliefs. Absolutely, ethnics come into it. So does profession. So does geography. So does education. So does family structure. The host of things that actually contribute to a particular culture. Another big topic. What's critical for you to understand, and this is important so that you don't underestimate the impact this could have, isn't the role of culture as much as it is the interdependencies of the number of cultures that we all belong to. When I was extremely young and started at AT&T, I managed to nearly get myself fired in the first 6 months of my job. I remember being scared stiff. Larry, great big wonderful and wise bear of a man, called me into his office and he said, "Kimi, I don't know quite how to put this, but if you don't start contributing meetings, we're going to have to find somewhere else in the organization for you to fit in. And if you can't fit in there, well, we're just going to end up having to find you a way to separate from the organization." Needless to say, this was a little daunting. I'd only been there 6 months. How had I managed to screw it up already? Well, it wasn't what I was doing. It turned out it was what I wasn't doing. You see, I was raised by my grandfather, which means I was raised in a slightly more traditional environment than perhaps other people of my same age. And so I had a great deal of respect, which was demonstrated by being respectfully quiet for my elders and those people who were senior to me in the organization, which at that time was, oh, I don't know, pretty much everybody. So I listened a lot in meetings. Larry's point was, we hired you, Kimi, because we expect you to contribute. We think you're capable of making valuable contributions. But in the past 6 staff meetings, we haven't heard you say one word past good morning. That's not going to work. You need to speak up. I have heard you in casual conversation. You and I have casual conversations one-on-one, and you are not shy about sharing your opinion and backing it up. And that's important because we want you to be able to back it up. But if you don't start offering that information, that perspective, and those contributions in our staff meetings, then what we hired you for, those valuable contributions, we're not getting them. That's a bad deal, don't you think? You see, the culture that works in one place just doesn't always work in other places. And sometimes, unless you have somebody as wise and as generous a spirit as Larry is, you have no idea that you're causing yourself that problem because you haven't adequately, whew, that's not even such a tough word, is it? You haven't adequately, what people call code switching. You see, code switching is a term for what happens when you bring out certain elements of one culture and you're operating in a slightly different culture. You need to understand how to make sure that your frame of reference and your behavior is now appropriate for that culture. So, step one. First, how about we identify what the factors are in the environment that we're working in right now? Jot down a list. Make this a team building exercise. Try to get everybody's thoughts about good or bad. What are the things that they feel are elements of the organizational culture, of the team culture, and maybe even in some cases, the industry's culture. You know, if you're in the financial industry, you're probably dealing with a greatly different culture than if you're in, say, IT, or if you're in branding or marketing. So start with a list. Make a list of everything that people perceive to be in the culture and in the environment. Because whatever they perceive is actually reality. Second, make a list. Those of you who take my critical thinking classes are probably recognizing this already. Make a list of the factors that would be in place in the perfect environment, the perfect culture. If it sounds an awful lot like a gap analysis, well, that's what it is. Because you see, the factors that contribute to team dynamics, it's a long list. But let's concentrate on those things that we can identify and those things that we can then make decisions on. And so, of course, step 3, start making those decisions. When I say start making those decisions, prioritize. Narrow down to the ones that you feel are causing possibly the most negative impact, and then decide what you're going to do about them. One at a time, please. Changing habits, work habits, communication habits, social habits. They're going to take a little bit longer than you might think. And I understand that that means it could take longer than you want it to. But it's a worthwhile investment of your time and your energy. And the fact that everybody's doing it together, well, that makes it even more important. In one of our follow-up videos, we're going to continue to expand on something that we call the enlightened triple constraints. And leadership-driven project management is built on that. The foundation of the enlightened triple constraints is our relationships with each other. And those relationships have to be based in trust. So when you and your team decide to create a team culture that is going to result in much more productive team dynamics, that increases the level of trust. That's good. That is all to the good. So taking this on, it's a good thing. And if you want to be just looking at this from a purely enlightened self-interest, the stronger and more productive the organization's culture is, the team's culture is, the more productive your team is. Not a bad thing. If you have any comments, please add them. If you have any suggestions of other topics that you'd like to see us cover, and you don't know where it is on our list, shoot us an email, shoot us a comment in the comments, and we'll move it up. It's probably on our schedule, but it might not be for a while. But if you're interested in it, we're interested in giving it to you. So please let us know if there's something that you're particularly interested. Because all of our lessons are geared to actionable and practical considerations, suggestions that you can take, put into action at your desk. That's our commitment to you. So let us help you to get even better as a project leader, even stronger as a project manager. I'm Kimi Hirotsuzumiski. I appreciate your joining us for this lesson, and I hope that you give serious thought to liking and, subscribing. And if this is something that you think that a colleague of yours might find interesting, please don't hesitate to share it with them. We'd love to see them here too. Thanks for joining us.